Okay, thank you everyone for coming. Welcome to Minibar. Welcome to the first session. It's so glad to have so many of you here. How many are at Minibar for the first time? Can I see a show of hands? Oh, great. So we got some veterans. We've got some newcomers. Welcome. You're going to have a great day. There's lots of interesting content from a lot of interesting people. This is a little bit of an unusual topic for Minibar, but I got some feedback that people wanted to hear some of this. So I'm going to tell you how to travel cheap on miles and points. And yeah, so let's talk about why you are here. When you think about miles and points and travel, you might have something like these pictures in your head. Luxury overwater villas in the Maldives, scuba diving, fabulous luxury experiences, or you might think first-class international travel in a freaking bed on Singapore Airlines. And that might be why some of you are here. Now, some of you might be here because you don't care about that luxury travel stuff. You just want to travel with your family. You want to see your friends. You're happy to go out to Seattle or New York in coach if it means seeing somebody who's important to you. And then some of you are here because you want to get the value out of travel points and credit cards, and you're actually looking to displace cash that you would otherwise spend and save some money. And to all of you, I want to tell you that whatever goals you have, your goals are your own, and your goals are legitimate. If you get too deep into miles and points and travel rewards, there are a lot of people who will tell you that, well, you shouldn't use your points. You're stupid if you use your points for coach travel within the United States. You should always use them for first-class international travel. Don't listen to those people. They don't matter. If you are meeting your goals, you're doing just fine. So in the next 35 minutes, I am going to teach you the basics of using miles, points, and credit card rewards to help you reach your travel goals, whatever they are. So who am I? I've worn many hats over the years. I've been a software engineer. I have been a tech startup founder. I've run a strategy consulting practice. But most recently, I am a professional freelance writer and management consultant focusing on loyalty programs and miles and points. I'm also an avid traveler. If you Google around, you can probably find my name on articles from any one of the publications that you see on the screen and many more. I've been active in this space publishing for about 4 years now. I have accumulated millions of miles and points and helped hundreds of thousands of people through my writing do the same. I am happy to stay in $6,000 a night luxury hotels. I'm equally happy to stay in $3 a night youth hostels. And I have had both experiences, and I've loved both. And I've flown first class and business class on many airlines, but most of the time, I'm in coach domestically on Delta. Okay, so getting into the meat of this. How do travel rewards work? Well, it's pretty simple. You earn them, and you spend them. But the details are important. But one of the biggest things that I want you to understand is that more effort is how you get more value out of travel rewards points. But this isn't a linear relationship. So if you put in twice as much effort, you aren't necessarily going to get twice as much value out of travel rewards. And most people can get the most value out of travel rewards by going after the low-hanging fruit and really putting in low effort. So what do you want versus how you get there? Which of those pictures that I showed at the beginning of the presentation resonated with you will kind of inform what you have to do to get there. So easiest is cash. Cash rewards can pay for travel, and a lot of people in the travel miles and points space forget this. And that is the easiest thing to do. You can focus on cashback credit cards and earning rewards points that can be translated into cash so that you can book travel. You can seek cash credit toward travel purchases. And this opens up a few more doors, like annual travel credits or rewards points that can be redeemed to purchase travel at cash prices. You can seek easily bookable hotel and flight rewards. If you're doing this, you'll want to accumulate points that can be transferred to a program that you're interested in. Or you could be interested in high-end aspirational luxury travel, in which case you will want to accumulate massive amounts of points and learn how to book travel rewards using travel rewards sweet spots and international airline programs. But for most people, and the sweet spot for me as well, is in one of these 3 columns, because that gives you the most rewards for your effort. Okay, so you earn them and you spend them. But how do most people earn massive amounts of miles and points? Well, the biggest way that most people earn their points is through credit card sign-up bonuses. And these are sign-up bonuses, promotions that are offered by credit card companies to entice you into signing up for their credit card. And like I said, this is by far the easiest way for most people to accumulate a massive amount of points. In practice, what does this look like? I picked this offer just as an example. If you want to get these 150,000 points, you can sign up for this American Express Platinum card, spend $15,000 in purchases within 3 months, and you earn a massive amount of points. Well, what are the gotchas? One of the reasons why I picked this particular offer. Not meeting spending requirements will not get you the points. So if you aren't spending $15,000 on credit cards, which I imagine most people are not, you probably want to avoid offers like this and go for something with a lower spending threshold. Not using points before annual fees hit. Some of these credit cards have annual fees, and if you don't use your points before your annual fee hits in the next year, you will have to choose between paying that annual fee or forfeiting these points that you've earned. And there's a temporary small hit to your credit score when you sign up for a new credit card. The second way that people accumulate points is through ongoing spending. And this is an easy way to accumulate a moderate amount of points. And this can be as simple as using a credit card that earns you points on every purchase for most of your purchases. Or you can scale this in complexity and use different credit cards for the grocery store and different credit cards for using gas. But that's where the gotcha comes in, because if you add complexity to this, you can quickly eclipse the amount of value that you can get. Third way that people accumulate miles and points, especially if you're traveling on business, is through brand loyalty. And this is when you stay at a specific brand of hotels or fly a certain airline and accumulate points in their program. Now, I don't recommend this as a strategy for most people, because if you are staying at a certain hotel chain, or you are always flying one airline, a lot of times you're not shopping around, and what you're giving up by not shopping around is often more than the amount of points that you would earn. However, if you travel for business and your company travel policy allows it, it's definitely worth pursuing this, because you can earn a massive amount of points that way. Manufactured spending. If any of you have gotten into the miles and points game too deep, you might have heard this term. This may be new to many of you. And this is a technique where people will buy something and that can be converted into cash at a cost less than the value of the points that they earn. And this is a way that some people scale their point earning machine and earn millions of points. The problem with this is that it's complex, it's a little bit risky, and honestly, it feels a little bit sketchy. So practically, what does this look like? A lot of people purchase Visa and MasterCard gift cards at places like grocery stores, gas stations, and office supply stores. And then they take those, and they find a place that will sell them money orders to a Visa or MasterCard debit card. And then they take those money orders and put them in their bank account. Now, exactly the stores that they use for this and where it actually works varies on region, but that is one way that people earn points. Now, the gotchas on this are too many to list, but mostly it involves getting stuck with gift cards that you can't liquidate. If you scale up and you're doing this and you end up with $5,000 of Visa gift cards, and suddenly the place that you're buying money orders from goes away, you have a problem. So don't do this unless you're really comfortable with what you're doing. And then finally, one thing that a lot of people don't think about is getting creative and finding ways to stack category bonuses or use coupons, use cashback sites, and increase the amount of rewards that they would use for a purchase. And this can be somewhat complex, but it actually can be pretty simple, too. So last week, I went to Hy-Vee, and I just snapped a photo of the gift card rack. And I asked, OK, well, where can we demonstrate this really easily? And I see that there's Best Buy gift cards on that gift card rack. And we're at Best Buy. So what a great example. So if you use a credit card that earns 6% rewards at a grocery store and need to purchase something at Best Buy, you can buy these gift cards at Hy-Vee. You can use their Fuel Saver program to earn a fuel discount, which equates to about a 4% discount on your purchase. And suddenly, you're getting a 10% rebate on everything that you want to buy at Best Buy, which is a much better deal than even using a 2% cashback credit card or even your Best Buy rewards card. So that's one way you can get creative. The gotchas depend on really how creative you want to get. So that's how people earn miles and points. Now let's talk about the ways that people spend their miles and points. What can these credit card rewards, these travel rewards, these points programs actually get for you? The secret that banks don't want you to know, though, is that many people don't spend their miles and points. Don't be one of these people. When banks offer credit card rewards, when airlines offer rewards, they don't want you to spend them because they have to pay to give you the value of those flights, of those hotel nights. So spend your points. You also want to avoid bad redemptions. And these redemptions are highly marketed, and I call these are less than cashback redemptions. Now, many points programs offer things like gift cards, merchandise, credit toward a purchase, and a lot of times these rewards will be less than you could get for your points in cash. So I want you to remember that a $100 gift card is always worth less than $100 in cash. So using thank you points as an example, I can redeem 10,000 thank you points for $100 cash, or I can redeem 10,000 thank you points for a $100 Target gift card. Which one would you rather have? So people redeem their points for cashback. It can come in the form of statement credits, cashback checks, direct deposits, or purchase offsets. And one thing with cashback, you may or may not be interested in this type of reward, but always compare what you're getting versus what you could get in cashback. If you can redeem 25,000 points for a flight or for $250 of cash back, and that flight you could purchase for cash for $200, you should just redeem for cash back and then purchase the flight. And the last point that I want to make on this slide is that not all miles and points programs offer cashback rewards. Airlines and hotels almost never do. And some of the transferable point currencies, which we'll talk about in a few slides, they actually have pretty poor cashback redemption options. You can also earn cash credit toward travel or travel credits. And this can be cashback that has more value if it's used to offset travel purchases. And some examples of this would be Chase's Pay Yourself Back program, where you can, if you're earning Chase points, you can take the same points that you could convert into cashback and get 25 to 50% increased value for travel purchased through their travel portal or for offsetting certain category purchases. A credit card that I have is the Capital One Venture Rewards card. 1 point can earn you half a cent of cash back, or I can use it to offset my travel purchases at 1 cent per point. So I'd much rather do that in that case. You can also book flights. And you book flights by redeeming points through an airline program. And now, one thing that you should remember is that points that you redeem through travel programs don't have to be booked necessarily on the same airline. So if you redeem Delta points, you can redeem Delta points for flights to Europe on KLM, flights to Asia on Korean Airways, and many more of their partners. The two things that you need to understand about how flight rewards are priced are some programs price their flights dynamically, where the flight prices in terms of reward points track the cash prices. Delta does this. So you can see our basic economy ticket on this flight at 6:06 p.m. costs 12,500 miles or $169. You upgrade to main cabin, it's $199 or $15,000. So you can kind of see how these prices are scaling with the flight prices. Now there are some airlines where they fix their prices. They say any flight within the United States is 25,000 miles round trip, or any business class flight between the United States and Europe is 125,000 miles per round trip. And these are a lot of the international airlines that you can that you can use through transferable points programs. And this is where you can actually start to get some outsized value for your points. And then finally, hotels. There are hotel programs just like there are airline programs, and these get priced dynamically. Some of them are priced using an award chart. I like Hyatt points because they have award chart pricing, and you can get relatively good value for your points. But some of the other hotel chains like Marriott, Hilton, IHG, or Choice have this dynamic pricing mechanism in effect. So in my opinion, it works better to accumulate cash back than to try to accumulate points in those programs, unless you can accumulate a massive amount of points through something like a credit card sign-up bonus. And then finally, we have transferable points. Now, I mentioned this a little bit ago. These are points that banks let you earn with some of their credit cards that can be transferred to other loyalty programs. And this is where a lot of people get a lot of value because they're very flexible. Some of the major transferable points programs are Ultimate Rewards, Membership Rewards, Thank You Points, Capital One, and Brex. And I've listed them more or less in the order that I like to accumulate them, and some of the advantages and disadvantages. I love Ultimate Rewards because you can get cash back for those points. You can transfer them to United. You can transfer them to Hyatt. You can transfer them to Southwest. Those are all really easy to use partners. You can transfer them to any one of about a dozen global airline partners if you want to do a little bit more work and go for business class rewards. And then you can kind of see the advantages and disadvantages of the other programs. OK, so that's how you earn points and how you burn points. But how do you get started? In the next couple of minutes, I'm going to show you the ways to get started that I like and some redemption examples that I like. So the way to get started is really to find a credit card with a welcome bonus that has requirements that you can easily meet and that awards points that can be easily redeemed for cash or travel that you plan to take. And travel that you plan to take is key because you shouldn't be accumulating massive amounts of points and just letting them sit because you're not getting the value. So some credit cards that I like with a bent toward people in Minneapolis. The Delta Airlines Platinum Card. So why do I like this? I like it because it has a very generous sign-up bonus. Delta miles are very usable for Minneapolis-based travelers, and it offers a companion certificate, and these miles have very generous award ticket cancellation policies. So one of the nice aspects of Delta SkyMiles is that if you book a ticket with miles, you can cancel that ticket up to the moment of departure and get all of your miles and fees back as long as your ticket is not a basic economy ticket. And I use this to book speculative travel all the time. If I'm not sure if I'm going to take a trip, I just book it with my SkyMiles. I can always get those refunded to my account. So this credit card has a welcome bonus of 90,000 Delta SkyMiles after you spend 3,000 in 3 months. And it has an annual fee of $250. I would recommend keeping this card if you are either chasing status with Delta or if you're getting substantial value out of that companion certificate. Personally, I keep this one in my wallet because I get more than $250 of value out of the companion certificate every year. Another card that I like is the Chase Sapphire Preferred. And now I've got to make a note about this slide. It says that this has this welcome bonus. They canceled this welcome bonus literally yesterday after I made my slides. So I'll have a website at the end. I think that you can still get this bonus in some places. I'll try to dig up a link. But know if you Google around, you may not see this because that promotion ended yesterday. But in general, why I like this card and this family of cards is because they have a lot of good redemption options. You can get cash back. You can get cash toward travel purchases. You can transfer to hotel partners like Hyatt. You can transfer to easily usable airline partners like United and Southwest. You can transfer to international airlines that can get you access to those business class flights. It has an annual fee of $95, and if you accumulate Ultimate Rewards, this is a great card to keep because this is a card that allows you to transfer to airline partners. I talked about cash back. One of the cards that I think is undersold in the miles and points space is the American Express Blue Cash Preferred. And I like it because it gives you 6% cash back at supermarkets up to $6,000 in spending per year and 3% back on groceries. And it has a best-in-class extended warranty benefit. So a couple of years ago, I had a cell phone that went tails up about a year and a month after I bought it. Fortunately, I purchased it with my Blue Cash Preferred, and I had to submit a form, tell them that my phone was broken, and then 2 weeks later, they cut me a check for the original purchase price and said, go buy a new phone. That was phenomenal. And I expected much more hassle from an insurance company that I got. So I was very happy with that. It has a great welcome bonus, $350 after $3,000 in spending within 6 months. Relatively easy to earn. If you're spending about $500 a month, you can pick up $350 for your troubles. It has an annual fee, but the rewards that you earn on gas can eclipse that annual fee. I also like Capital One Venture X Rewards. And I like this one because this has a high annual fee. It's $395, but every year you get a $300 travel credit and 10,000 bonus miles that more or less offset that fee, and you get priority pass lounge access, which means if you've ever flown out of Terminal 1 at MSP and seen the PGA lounge, this will get you access to that. You also get free authorized users with this card, which means, let's say you have a family of 2 adults and 3 kids. You can get a card. You can get your partner a free authorized user card. You both get priority pass lounge access, and you each get 2 guests to take into the lounge. So now your entire family can go to the lounge when you're traveling through MSP. And about the PGA lounge specifically, you get a $15 restaurant credit when you check into that lounge. So your family of 5 is getting, what is that, $75 of restaurant food, and kids' meals at that restaurant are only $8. So definitely an excellent card if you're traveling with a family. Offers a generous welcome bonus as well. And then finally, Citi Double Cash. This doesn't offer a welcome bonus, but this is a credit card that I like to have in my wallet because it earns 2% back on everything. And if you decide that doing the miles and points thing isn't for you at all, and you just want a few extra dollars on your spending, this card is the best thing out there, and I really like it. It's what I use for my day-to-day spending. Okay, now let's get into the exciting stuff, the redemptions, how people are actually using their miles, and redemptions that I like. I talked about cash equivalent awards. I don't need to belabor that point. Cash is great. Delta. Delta offers fare sales with some frequency, and those can sometimes offer incredible values if you have Delta Airlines miles. And I'm talking about things like 4,500 miles one way from Minneapolis to the West Coast. And this is a sale that I've seen pop up a couple of times that I've actually taken advantage of. And if you think about that, For that 90,000 points for that credit card, you're getting potentially 10 round trips to Seattle. That's insane. And I love shopping these fare sales. I travel opportunistically on these all the time. And in fact, I am going to Australia next year in February for 80,000 Delta SkyMiles because they had a fare sale 2 weeks ago and I jumped on it. Now, let's hope Australia is open for travel by then. But that's just an example of the kind of value that you can get from some of these fare sales, especially as a Minneapolis-based flyer. Another one of my favorite redemptions is Air France KLM Flying Blue promo awards. And these I really like these because, number one, they're great value. You can get up to 50% off award travel between the United States and Europe, or if you happen to be stationed in Europe, in select routes that they publish. An example of a current deal is Dallas to Europe in economy for 18,000 miles. They're easy to book. The routes are announced monthly. They change all the time, and I've gotten a lot of mileage out of these awards. The miles are easy to get. You can transfer them from literally every transferable points program. So you don't have to worry about accumulating KLM miles. You just transfer the miles from your credit card rewards when the good awards come up. And I've gone to Europe using 28,000 Flying Blue miles in a business class product that looked a lot like that. That seat actually folds into a bed, and it's actually more than 6 inches long, so I could lie down fully. For 28,000 Flying Blue miles in lie-flat business class to Europe. It was a great value. And I got that in just a week before the world closed down because of COVID. So, yeah. I also like Hyatt hotels. So Hyatt is one of the few programs that offers award prices that are not tied to the cash prices of their hotel rooms, meaning that you can get very good value out of these points. And you can get Hyatt points by using a Hyatt credit card, getting Chase Ultimate Rewards, and I do boring redemptions too. I spent 8,000 points to stay at a night in the Hyatt Regency near O'Hare when I had a 6 a.m. flight. That would have cost $194 a night. So I effectively translated my 8,000 points into $200, which I think is a great value. Another redemption that I really like that people don't talk about is speculative bookings. Now, I mentioned that Delta is very generous with their award cancellation policies, but a lot of airlines allow you to do this. You can book a ticket using miles and points, and then cancel it and get a lot of your miles and points back, often until the day of departure, often with no fee. And I use this frequently to book a ticket to a place that I need to travel to while I hunt around for a better deal. So this is something that I'm doing right now. I am planning on going to Germany for Oktoberfest, and I've booked this ticket on United. Now, United's policy is that I can cancel this and get all of it's 30,000 miles per person in coach. I can cancel this up until 31 days before my flight for free and get all of my miles back and all of my money back. So I've got this as an option, and if anything comes up that's a good deal in business class, that is on Delta, which is my preferred airline, or has a more attractive routing, although I don't know how you can do better to Munich than one stop. Yeah, if I find something better, I can book that and cancel this, and I've paid nothing for it. So this is actually one of my favorite ways to use miles, especially domestically. So if I did my timing right, we should be at about 35 minutes. We started at 25 after, so we're right on time. And I wanted to save some time for questions. Open any questions. Just want to remind you to be courteous to others, be brief, be relevant, be respectful. There are no stupid questions. I do want feedback on this presentation, but I've got a website to submit that feedback, and feedback during questions isn't terribly helpful for everyone else in the room. And with that, oh, and also we're recording this session, so we'd prefer you use the microphone for your question. So does anybody have any questions about anything we covered today?
Thank you. Great job, by the way, Aaron. This is amazing. How many times should you open and close a credit card in a year? How many is too many? Have you ever had problems with that? Because I've done that a lot of times, taking advantage of these cards. But what's your thoughts?
Yeah. So generally, I'm expecting that people in this room are interested in, maybe opening 1 or 2 credit cards to get some points to travel. If you start doing this a lot, you can run into things like limits that credit card issuers have on opening and closing accounts. So Chase, for example, won't approve you for any credit cards if you have opened 5 or more accounts in the previous 24 months. American Express will only let you earn sign-up bonuses once per product per lifetime. Citibank has some rules about how often you can apply for accounts. I think it's 2 every rolling 60 days. But another thing that you've got to worry about is your credit score. And opening and closing a lot of accounts will impact your credit score, but it is not nearly as much as you might fear, especially if you have an established credit history. Here's my binder of credit cards. And my credit score right now is, I'm doing some resale stuff, so I've got a large balance that hit my credit report. But my credit score is in the low 800s to high 700s, even with all of that activity. So, there are some rules to learn if you do this a lot, but it's not going to kill your credit score. And as long as you're not greedy, you're not going to kill your relationships with the banks. Okay. Other questions?
Yeah, I do have a kind of a question follow-up to that. So I think I ran across a few blog posts. Maybe it's when all the upgrade and annual fees were announced. And people saying, if you call in and say, like, take for example, if I was going to say, you know what, I want to downgrade my Amex Platinum back to Gold, unless you've got, when you're talking to the rep, unless you could give me a reason not to. Is that legitimate? Are there kind of like, is there negotiations to be had?
I would say no to negotiations, but yes, you should absolutely do that.
Do what?
You should call in and so let's use the example, you've got this Amex Platinum and your annual fee is coming up. And with Amex, it's actually best to do it after the annual fee hits, because you call up and say, hey, this annual fee hit, I'm not getting value out of the credit card. Can you help me get additional value out of this credit card? And sometimes they'll say, they'll sell you on the benefits, but a lot of times they'll offer you a retention offer. And sometimes this can be waiving the annual fee. Sometimes this can be additional points. And sometimes this can be some sort of additional cash rebate. And it really depends on what their computers think, how valuable you as a customer are to them in the opinion of their algorithm. Sometimes you get a rock, sometimes you get a great deal. But if you are going to cancel a card, don't just cancel it. See if you can get a retention offer. Did you have a follow-up?
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's say in that, So let's say in that example, you talk to them, you're going to downgrade. So when you downgrade from, say, a platinum to a gold, does that reflect in credit ratings or credit scores at all?
No. What is reported is how long you've had the line open, your available credit, your payment history, and how much of your credit you are actually using. So if those things don't change and just the product changes, your credit score is not going to be affected at all with a downgrade. Do we have other questions? Okay.
So do you find it better to use miles like one, like for the entire flight, or what about like cash plus miles, or is there any benefit to doing, like I'm looking for upcoming travel and I want to go to Scotland. The flight price is like kind of at the top of my limit of points. So is it better to buy the coach flight and then upgrade to first class using, or like what's the best way?
Well, so it really depends on the flight. A lot of these cash plus miles fares are actually not a great deal. And I'll use Delta as an example because that's just what I have in the top of my head. You can use, if you have a credit card, you can use miles for effectively 1 cent off of your cash flight if you use their cash plus miles option. But if you're able to book the entire flight with miles, usually based on their pricing, you're going to get about 1.3 cents per mile of value. So I would usually be very skeptical about using a cash plus miles option with most of the programs that are out there today. But the way to really figure out for sure is just to compare the prices, right? Like you've got you know what the cash price of that ticket is, and you know what the cash plus miles price is. So if you subtract that cash component from the cash fare, you can figure out how much they're giving you for each mile, and then you can do the same thing with your miles option and figure out where you're getting the most value. Does that help? Okay, excellent.
Any advice or experience on buying big ticket items like cars, and any pushback from retailers on that?
Well, definitely pushback from car dealers. A lot of car dealers won't let you put a lot of. Some will let you put a few $1,000s on the credit card, but a lot of them won't let you put the whole thing on the credit card. I have heard of people putting cars on their American Express cards, but you're really going to have to shop around for that. And the reason for this is when merchants process a credit card, they pay a fee for that, and no car dealership wants to pay a 3% fee on your, $30,000 car purchase. But if you can get them to do it, good on you. So,
I think there's time for one more.
One more question? Okay, no more questions. So I will be down here after the session. Thank you for attending. This morning I got up early when I found out that I was going to be in the theater and put together a website that has a whole bunch of links. But let me know if you've got any questions. I'll be hanging around. There's my contact info. Tweet at me, email me, connect with me on LinkedIn or on the web. And thank you for coming, and enjoy the rest of your time at Minibar.